Hi guys, Mike here, and today we're going to take a look at the Asus EEE PC 1025 CE. This is going to be the review for this 10-inch netbook. This is the new generation Asus netbook, and it's going to be the premium entry in this class. It's like I said, a 10-inch device, fairly light. It comes with a newly designed body. It looks very well. Our version is comes in this red dark pink color, but of course there will be other colors available as well. It comes with this new generation Intel Atom hardware, which promises better video performances, and they also added an HDMI output for that. Overall, it should be snappier than the previous generation, while it shouldn't be much more expensive or much more energy hungry. But all this will be available, and you will find the details about each of these aspects in the video review that's gonna start in just a second. Alright, so before actually starting the video review, I'm going to have to tell you a couple of things. Because the device is not yet available in stores, this 1025 CE, we managed to get our hands on a pre-release sample, and because of that, some of the final configurations for the devices you get in store might differ from what we have here. Plus, we had some issues testing the graphic abilities of this one, because right now the final drivers for the GPU inside this Asus aren't yet available, so we can't really test the gaming experience, but we can test some multimedia abilities, and you're going to see those a bit later. But first, let's have a quick look at the exterior. Like I said, this is the Asus EEE PC 1025 CE, and this is going to be the premium 10-incher Asus is going to bring on the market this year, at least for the first half of this year, 2012. It comes in this dark pink color. It looks very nice, I would say. It's also going to be available in a bunch of different other colors as well, with blue, white, I think black maybe as well. So definitely this one is very nicely looking. The exterior is made from plastic, but it's a very solid plastic. It feels nice. It has this rubbery finish. It allows good grip, and the same finish is used for the back. Unlike the 2025C, where the back is made from that textured black plastic, this one uses the same finish that you get on the lid and on the interior, also on the back, with the battery being the only contrastant part over here. Now on the back, you're going to notice that there is no fast access bay for the memory, and this actually means that it will be a bit more difficult for you to upgrade the memory without having to go to a specialized store. On previous netbooks, you had this bay here, just unscrew that and replace the memory, because by default this one only comes with 1 GB of memory, and I definitely recommend upgrading to at least 2 GB, if not 4, which is the maximum that this platform supports. So I'm pretty sure that the memory is not soldered on the motherboard, but you can't really access it easily, which is a bummer. Now let's have a quick look at the actual battery. It should pop open like this, and we have it over here. It's okay, it's a 52 mAh 56 Wh battery, so it's a standard 6L battery. Should offer very good battery life. Nothing else over here on the back except for a couple of screws. Let's put this back in. Like I said, putting it in is quite easy. Just put it in place, press, and that's it. Now let's have a quick look on the sides, but first probably going to notice the new flare shape, which is the new the Asus EEE PC Flare is this new line of ultra portables Asus is bringing to market in 2012, replaces the previous C-shell line. And while on the previous generation the bottom was thicker and the front was thinner, on this one the device is thicker in the middle, but it's thinner on the edges, and overall it's slimmer than it used to be, while not really lighter. Still weighs about 2.8 pounds with the 6L battery attached on the back. And speaking of the battery, it's humped like this, which makes for a good handle when grabbing the device like this. So it's very easy to carry it like this. You have very good grip. Okay, now let's actually focus on what you have on the sides. And first, you notice the chromed edges, which are a trademark for the Flare line. Plus, what you have here is a card reader, microphone and headphone, USB 2.0 and USB 3.0. You have a Kensington lock and a LAN adapter. Nothing on the back except for the screen's hinges, which might seem fragile and small, but they're actually quite robust, and I'm satisfied with how they're working in practice. You have the DC in over here, you have the VGA output, you have another USB, standard USB 2.0, you have the cooling vent, a small cooling vent here, and you have the HDMI output. Opening the device, you're going to notice that the same color that's used for the exterior and the bottom is used for this part, the area around the keys and the palm rest. I'd say overall the design is excellent. While the screen, it's mate, it's a 10.1 inch standard 1024 by 600 pixel screen, but it comes with this matte finish, so you can use it outside. Plus the screen's bezel is now made as well. It's actually made from this plastic, and it comes with a thin light texture that kind of resembles the texture you get on aluminum materials. So it's overall quite nice. On top you have a webcam with an LED indicator that tells you when the camera is on, and a microphone, plus you have the privacy lock. So this is something you're only going to find on the 1025 CE, while the cheaper 1025C is not going to have it. The keyboard, alright, on this option the keyboard is silvery. I'm not really sure if all the devices would come with the silver keyboard. Some might come with a black finish. Plastic keyboard, the keys are not full size. I believe they're 92-93% of full size. Plus you get the smaller arrow keys over here. This is actually the US layout, which means a bigger shift here and the bar enter, not a taller enter like on the European layout, which I personally quite like this one, the US layout. The space is not noisy, those keys here are not noisy as well, and there's little flex. Overall, I say typing is okay, it's quite accurate, you get good response out of the keyboard, but you're going to have to get used to the fact that these are not full-size keys. So if you have bigger hands, bigger fingers, you might have a problem adapting to it. Plus, one more thing I wanted to show you, the keys, I would say, they look a bit taller than they used to be on the previous generation. I'm not 100% sure of this, but based on what I reckon, they seem a bit taller than they used to be, which actually gets a better travel and better response out of this key. So overall, I'm quite satisfied with the keyboard. The trackpad, you have it right now, right here. It's wide, definitely wide enough. However, it's narrow, it's not tall enough. It would have been nice if they could have moved the keyboard a bit towards the top and got a taller trackpad here. It would be more space for you to play around, but it's still quite okay. It's made from plastic, but it's responsive and overall quite comfortable. The click button is below. You don't have separated click buttons, only one click button, but you don't really have to press hard. Of course, you have to press towards the edges to record the command, but don't have to press hard like on other trackpads I've seen. And beneath you have the status LEDs over here. Okay, now let's go ahead and power the device. You only have one button here, which is the power button, while on this other side it says EEE PC Flare series. And while it loads, the device we're having here comes with an Intel Atom CedarTrail N2800 processor, 2 GB of RAM, and I believe it's a 500 GB hard drive, plus Windows 7 starter. So it's pretty standard, except that in stores it will only ship with 1 GB of RAM. And based on what I've seen on the 1025C, which has the same processor, the same platform, but the standard amount of RAM, having 2 GB of memory in here really helps a lot your everyday performances, helps when multitasking. So definitely something I recommend. Like I said, you must upgrade the amount of memory you get on your device when buying yours. this new platform is actually quite fast. It's not a lot snappier than the previous platform used to be in terms of multitasking and everyday operation, but it is faster in terms of multimedia and graphic abilities. Games, they're not something you can play on this one, but HD content, full HD content, those are things that are able to run properly on the Asus 1025 CE, and actually on every device that is built on the new CedarTrail Atom platform. So device seems to be loading a bit slower because there were some updates over here, but now that it's loaded, let me go ahead and turn the screen's brightness up. Should work. Let's give it a bit of time to load. Okay, so this is the maximum screen brightness, and you're going to notice that the screen is quite bright here. Plus the viewing angles, they're not really that bad. I would say they're quite okay for a screen in this class, and that's mainly because this is a matte display. Of course, colors, they're not as bright as on glossy screens, but the fact that you get better viewing angles and the fact that you can use this one outside is excellent. Plus the screen tilts only that much, but that's going to be still enough to adjust the viewing angle, so you can easily use it in pretty much all the available conditions out there. Okay, so first let's go ahead and show you guys the Windows experience rating. Probably going to want to see this, and it's like I said, and the Atom N2800. Probably should adjust this a bit so you can actually see something here. Okay, it's the Atom N2800 with 2 GB of RAM, and the experience rating is 3.4. With the lowest mark for the gaming graphics, processor gets 3.6 and memory 5.2. So overall a good mark here. Of course, for the results for the other benchmarks I've ran, you should go on the site. On netbooklive.com is going to be the written review for this particular device. Right now I'm going to tell you that this one is decently snappy in overall in everyday use, and it can handle light multitasking as long as you don't push it too hard, don't open many applications simultaneously. It's going to be quite okay. And let's go ahead and try some clips, and I'm going to go ahead and run straightly this one, which is the Samsung demo. It's a 1080p 40 megabits per second MKV file, and I'm going to show you that this one works. Takes a bit of time for the software to actually load the clip, but once it's loaded it will work. Like I said, it's a 40 megabit 1080p. This is not something you will usually have on your device. Syncing is a bit slow, and I think I should see how the sound volume is. Okay, so this is a 1080p 40 megabits per second clip. There are some artifacts, but it's still working. And like I said, the drivers for this one, they're not actually final here. So maybe I should go ahead and show you the standard 1080p and don't push it with this one. Okay, so the standard 1080p MKV file is here, and if you want to run this one properly, you're going to have to select high performance mode here, and let's see how is this going to. It's working, and the reason it's working is because we have DXVA enabled. If you've seen our review for the 1025C, by default this clip is not going to work on your device, and that's because you don't have DXVA enabled. The written review will tell you how you can enable that, and you will be able to run all these sorts of clips. Of course, MKV works, MOV, MP4, WMV, all this kind of clips will work as well. Plus, you get to play content from YouTube, and let's go ahead and try this. Of course, I've installed Chrome. By default, this one comes with Internet Explorer and a couple of unwanted pieces of software, which I advise you to get rid of. You have the Asus, I don't know how that's called, tray something. It's that bar of applications here on top, and you have Asus web storage and all these things running. I actually advise you to get rid of those in order to get better performances, because like I always told you, in order to get good performances on devices like this sorry, on low power devices like this, you're going to need to run as few applications simultaneously as possible. Okay, so we have the bunny clip once again, the big bunny clip, something, this one. And let's go ahead and play this one. Should wait for it to buffer, but I'm going to try straightly the 1080p HD option. So this is 1080p HD. So it's running flawlessly. And there's one thing I should tell you about the speakers. I feel that the speakers are not very loud. You can hear me now speaking here while the clip is running. With other devices that wouldn't have been the case. I know that the Toshiba, for instance, definitely has louder speakers. Overall, sound quality is okay, not impressive, but okay. Still, the volume is not really that good. And if I wanted to show you some gains, I really can't do this because, like I said, the drivers are not yet final, and this one is the GPU inside this one is not yet DirectX 10.1 compatible like it should be. By the time the device will get in stores, that issue is going to be solved probably, but right now I can't really show you any 3D games because they're not going to work. Even the synthetic tests, the synthetic 3D tests are not working. Still, don't expect that much. This might be able to run very old games, but it won't be able to run newer titles, and it's definitely poorer in terms of gaming experience than the AMD Fusion platform. So overall, this offers good HD abilities right now, this platform, the Intel CedarTrail Atom platform, but games are still no for it. Now, in terms of battery, this one has this 6-cell battery inside, and on average I say you'll get around 7 hours of life, 7 and a bit hours of life of use every single charge. Asus says it can go up to 12 hours. Personally, I couldn't actually get there. I got to about 9 and a bit when using this one with the screen dimmed all the way to 0 and no wireless, while typing and editing some photos, typing the written review and editing some photos. So that got me 9+ hours, but on average you get like 7 as long as you get your mode on auto and you get the screen to about 50%, which I would say it's usable in most of the situations out there. For multimedia playing, I got the 720p clip running continuously, the MKV clip running continuously with DXVA activated and running Media Player Classic Home Cinema, and that led to about 6 hours of life, which is still good. Running a HD clip for 6 hours, that's definitely something most other devices won't be able to offer these days. One more thing I should tell you, the hardware inside this one is fanless, so there's very little noise. The only noise you're going to hear actually comes from the hard drive, which sometimes cranks, but and you can hear it spinning in there, but besides this it's very quiet. So if you're going to replace the hard drive with an SSD, you get a virtually quiet computer. The down point that the back sometimes get a bit warm over here. I can't say that it gets very hot, but it can get warm, especially if you're running, for instance, like a 1080p clip for a couple of hours. This part over here will get hot, not necessarily the top part, but the lower part where this cooling vent is placed. Still, I guess that's something you should get used to it. You should get used to. It's not really a big inconvenience, because it's not like you can't really hold your device on your lap when it gets that hot. Plus, for most of your daily activities, it will nearly get warm. Alright, because this product is not yet available in stores, I can't really tell you anything for sure about prices and availability. From what I know, this one is going to be about $30 more expensive than the 1025C, as it brings some improvement. It brings USB 3.0, Bluetooth, and the privacy screen lock, plus this different exterior with the bottom colored same as the lid, and that should start at $330. But I think the $330 version will be with a 3-cell battery, while the top version, the one we have here, will probably go for around $370. But like I said, it's not really those are not really final prices. They haven't yet been released. They should be released pretty soon, because from what I know, this one will hit the stores in late March, which is pretty soon, and like a month's time or something like this. Okay, those are pretty much all the things I wanted to show you. Of course, you have the written review, which is on the site on netbooklive.com, where you have the benchmarks, you have updates on prices, availability, and stuff like this. For the conclusions on this video review, see the next part of this clip. Okay, so you saw that there are a lot of things to like about this new 10-inch device. It proves that netbooks are still here and they're still alive. A lot of people will find this device useful. It's going to be okay for those of you that travel a lot, for those of you that are in school and don't require a lot of processing power, but require a thin form factor and huge battery life. And for that, the Asus is going to be great. Like I said, this is the premium series of the 10-inch new EEE PC Flare line. It will be a bit more expensive than the other netbooks on the market, probably starting at $350, let's say an average price for the top version, which is a bit expensive, but the build quality and overall all the features and the power are actually worth this kind of money. So if you're on the market for perhaps one of the best, if not the best, 10-inch netbook available right now at the beginning of 2012, you should really consider this, the Asus EEE PC 1025CE. Thanks, that was Mike.